Hello everyone, glad to be back. Today is 14th of May, now it's almost 2 o'clock, middle of the day by Moscow time. I'm Levan Gudadze and this is my first update today, in which I will share all the main news that are making headlines in Russian media outlets and Russian language pages on different internet platforms. Second update will be a little bit late in the afternoon, and today I will upload informal talks in which I will summarize previous week, how it went for our channel, and I will also answer to some questions and share additional information that will be reported by Russian media outlets during the day. That's been said, let's talk about news now, and if I may, I will start with Turkey today because it's a day of presidential and parliamentary elections in Turkey. Very important elections because today may be decided the fate of Turkey, fate of relationships between Turkey and Russia, Turkey and Azerbaijan, Turkey and Iran, Turkey and China, and many experts in this field are predicting that if Erdogan will lose this election, if main opposition candidate, let me give you his name, Kemal Kılıçdaroğlu, will become next president of Turkey, then relationships between Turkey and BRICS nations, between Turkey and Azerbaijan or Turkey and Iran, will be deteriorating quite rapidly, especially relationships between Turkey and Russia. It's quite possible, really, because if Kılıçdaroğlu will become next Turkish president, he will probably impose sanctions on Russia in the very first months of his presidency. Everyone, as I understand, seeing this person as a Western puppet, and if he will become, and he is extremely anti-Russian. He already proved that during his statements, one of whom was made just recently, a few days ago, and Kremlin even did react on this, and I will share information about it also. But when it comes to possible results of elections, just a few minutes ago, Russian media did report that Erdogan made statement that everything is going smoothly in Turkey, and there are no significant problems during the elections. But unfortunately for Erdogan, many experts are predicting that he will lose this election, or even if he will receive majority of votes, he won't be able to maintain office of president, because in that case Western elites, Washington, London, Paris, and other capitals will conduct some regime change operation in Turkey, and they will anyway put in power their puppet, Kılıçdaroğlu or anyone else. I mean, it's not really matters what name has a puppet, isn't it? So let's see how the situation develops. Despite the statement of Erdogan that everything is going smoothly in Turkey, there are some reports that supporters of main candidates are fighting each other in some areas of Turkey, and because division between the sides are based on ideology, it's quite easy for some third party to create some internal tensions and even provoke some serious confrontations. So let's hope situation will Turkey stay stable no matter which way final results of these elections will go. And let me continue. This is RIA Novosti's report about statements that Peskov made about Kılıçdaroğlu's words towards Russia. And Peskov said that it's unacceptable to blame Russia in involvement of internal affairs of Turkey, and Russia is, according to Peskov, Russia of course are just observer in this situation and not even trying to influence anything when it comes to internal Turkish policy. Basically standard statement, what else you're gonna expect, but we are already seeing that there are some tensions between Kremlin and this main opposition candidate, Kılıçdaroğlu. And if he will become president of Turkey, then I mean we can say probably that all hopes of Turkey to become a main energo hub in the region between and a main transit hub between west and east or north and south will be ruined. And to be honest, I'm not quite sure the Turkish economy will survive under leadership of Western puppets. So, who knows? Let me continue now. This is RIA Novosti's report about situation on the front line. According to Russian Defense Ministry, during the previous 24 hours, Russian armed forces did manage to repel all local-scale counteroffensives from Zelensky's regime in direction of Solidar and Artyomovsk. Artyomovsk is Bakhmut. Of course, we all know this. And let me show you on the map. This is Bakhmut, by the way, and as I understand, the Zelensky's regime were trying to conduct some offensive operations in direction of Solidar to encircle Bakhmut, but seems like front line has been stabilized. And after a few days of success, the Zelensky's regime had a local scale success that Zelensky's regime had during previous few days. Ukrainian forces did run out of steam, or at least it looks like that to me. And front line has been stabilized. If nothing will change, then it's quite possible that my prediction about withdrawal of Ukrainian forces from Bakhmut may become true, and if before end of next week we will see that Bakhmut garrison will flee, then maybe truly was some negotiations between Kiev and Moscow, and maybe that's why Russian forces retreat from flanks during the previous days to give Zelensky's regime opportunity to withdraw its forces without high risk of becoming under direct fire or artillery fire of Russian forces. This opening between Bakhmut and Chisov is quite wide now, and they can use H32 highway. They can use this road that goes through Khramovo also. So let's see. I'm not sure that my prediction about which I did spoke in yesterday's update is 100% possible. But if before end of next week Bakhmut garrison will retreat, then who knows? So let me continue. And when it comes to overall situation on the front line, it's not really much is happening, at least for now. Zaporozhye, Kherson region is artillery duels as usual. The same goes for Zaporozhye region. Donetsk direction, main hot points, of course, Marinka and Avdiivka. Bakhmut, of course. And Seversk and Kupiansk. Also artillery duels and some local scale close range combat between the sides. But overall situation is quite stable, and as I understand, Russian forces on Solidar and Bakhmut direction did manage to stabilize front line, which is very important. And by the way, during the previous night, Russian forces did conduct once again large-scale missile and drone strikes on logistical and military infrastructure of Zelensky's regime. I did share on my Telegram channel information about it, and yet another huge ammunition depot was hit in Ternopil region. There were multiple hits in Ternopil region towards ammunition depots and warehouses where Zelensky's regime were hiding Western military equipment. And to be honest, lately Russian side was so effective to conduct strikes against ammunition depots of Zelensky's regime and warehouses where Western-made military equipment was stored, that maybe Kiev will lose opportunity if this continues, Kiev maybe won't be able to conduct even local scale offensive operations in direction of Azov Sea. And as you know, by the way, I was always skeptical about possibility that Zelensky's regime will ever be able to conduct large-scale counteroffensive, but I was very much sure that they have enough forces, let's say 50, 70, 80,000 reserve, to conduct some local-scale, serious local-scale offensive operations in direction of Kherson, in direction of Ugledar, and from Gulyai-Pole and Orekhov, from there to, in direction of Tokmak, and then Melitopol. Of course, they will have no chance. Russian side will stop them, and then once Ukrainian forces will run out of steam, it will be turn of Russian side to deal some huge blow to those brigades that will be involved in these offensive operations. But as I said, recently Russian side was so effective to destroy ammunition depots and military warehouses of Zelensky's regime that maybe they will be unable to conduct even local scale offensive operations because they will have no reserve supplies of ammunition or military equipment. But yet again, I mean, let's wait and see. As we all know, Washington and London are demanding from Zelensky offensive operations, so probably Ukrainian side will be forced to conduct these offensive, local-scale offensive operations if they are 100% sure that they will achieve nothing. They just don't have a choice, really, because I don't think Zelensky or Zaluzhny or any other leader of this criminal and Nazi and terrorist regime in Kiev are able to say no to their Western masters. But yet again, I mean, even though so many talks are taking place about this so-called counteroffensive, and for so many months now, at least for now, we did not see any even local-scale offensive operations. Let me continue now, and this is RIA Novosti's report. Yet again, sources Russian Defense Ministry, according to which Russian forces did manage to shut down Su-24 and MiG-29 planes of Zelensky's regime that were involved in strikes with Storm Shadow long-range cruise missiles in direction of Lugansk. As you know, yesterday and day before yesterday, Zelensky's terrorist regime did use these Storm Shadow missiles that was delivered to those Nazis by United Kingdom, and unfortunately, Russian air defense systems was unable to shut down missiles, but they did, according to Russian Defense Ministry, shut down Su-24 bomber and MiG-29 fighter jet. As I understand, Su-24s are used as a platform to launch these Storm Shadow cruise missiles. And by the way, when it comes to losses in the air fleet, unfortunately, yesterday was a very tragic day for Russian Air Force because in Bryansk region, 2 Mi-8 helicopters was shut down, and also one Su-34 fighter bomber and one Su-35 fighter jet. Russian Defense Ministry did not share with public information that they have, at least for this moment, what has happened yesterday in Bryansk region. But according to military experts in this field, these air vehicles were shut down by air-to-air long-range missiles. And if that's the case, then probably Zelensky's terrorist and Nazi regime was using Polish MiG-29s that were delivered to Ukraine just recently. Those Polish MiG-29s were modernized to carry Western-made long-range air-to-air missiles and Western-made ammunition, basically. And if these Russian aerial vehicles were shut down by air-to-air missiles, then most definitely it was MiG-29. probably Zelensky's regime did use MiG-29s, and I hope Russian side will manage to find out where these MiG-29s are based, in which airfield or in which highway. And yes, I hope those planes will be destroyed as soon as possible, because they truly are danger. As we can see, they truly are danger for Russian Air Force and should not be taken lightly. Let me continue now, and this is just recent information. A few minutes ago, Russian Defense Ministry did report that Russian fighter jets did manage to shut down yet another Ukrainian Su-27 fighter jet in area of Novogradovka, that's DPR, Donetsk People's Republic. And in one hand, of course, I mean, it's good news for Russian side that Zelensky's regime lost one more fighter jet, but in the other hand, these kind of informations are truly raising questions because it's hard to believe that Zelensky's regime had so many Su-27s in its inventory. I mean, how many Su-27s they have left? I mean, the Russian Defense Ministry almost on daily basis are reporting that Su-27s were shut down. So it's, I mean, we should take this information with a pinch of salt, really, because maybe it was some other plane, but when it comes to Su-27s, former members of Warsaw Pact did not have Su-27s in the inventory. They did have the MiG-29s and they did deliver MiG-29s to Ukraine, but Su-27s are different beasts. And I don't think Ukraine had so many Su-27s. But I don't know. That's what Russian Defense Ministry is reporting. Let me continue now, and maybe it was some other plane. Maybe it was MiG-29. They look quite similar, even though very different planes. But for many, they look similar by airframe. Let me continue now, and this is TASS News Agency's report, according to which Zelensky had meeting with Scholz today, and he was received with all regards. And by the way, Zelensky is running around Europe, as we know. He was in Italy just yesterday. Today he is in Germany. Maybe he will visit France also, but to be honest, we all know how this kind of meetings going down. I mean, Zelensky is asking for more money because he needs to buy some new mansion somewhere in California or Miami or Florida or somewhere else. And yes, more weapons, of course, more weapons. And unfortunately, European states delivering more weapons and more money. Zelensky probably one of the richest criminals in the world right now, maybe richest one. So yes, I mean, I did report yesterday about decision that Germany made to deliver some additional weaponry and ammunition to Zelensky's regime for 2.7 billion euros. And maybe today Scholz will promise some more weapons and more money. I don't know, but sad thing is that I mean, these clowns like Scholz or like other so-called leaders of European states are ruining relationships between Russia and those countries for decades to come. That's the saddest part of it, because we all know how this conflict gonna end eventually. Russia will emerge victorious, no matter how long this conflict will last. Russia will emerge victorious anyway, but relationships between the countries will be ruined for decades. That's very unfortunate, of course. Let me continue now, and the fact itself that this conflict has been prolonged by Western elites for so long and so many people have lost lives and livelihoods, it's so tragic that, I mean, it's just unbelievable, but that's what is happening, really. and only because Western elites are not willing to talk about peace. They don't even want to hear anything about peace. But let me continue now. This is RIA Novosti's report, according to which some military experts in US are now, and this publication is based on article in Business Insider, according to which Zelensky's regime's counteroffensive may fail because of the Western pressure. So according to this article, Zelensky's regime is informing its masters in Washington and London that Ukrainian armed forces are not ready to conduct successful large-scale counteroffensive, but they are under pressure. And because I just said a few minutes ago that because Zelensky or his henchmen are unable to say no to the Western masters, they will be forced to conduct some local-scale offensive operations anyway, and they will lose. They will achieve nothing really. Yes, according to some military experts, and this time Ben Hodges says this. He was head of NATO forces in Europe, General Ben Hodges, so he should probably know what he is talking about. And if he is saying that Zelensky's counteroffensive will probably or most definitely fail because of this Western pressure and unreadiness of Ukrainian forces to conduct such operations. I mean, if he's saying that, then, I mean, okay, I will agree with it, even though I was also saying exactly the same. Not being any general or any expert in military stuff. Let me continue now. This is TASS News Agency's report, according to which current Prime Minister of UK, United Kingdom, Sunak, on the next summit of G7 will call for more support to Ukraine. Well, no one is surprised really, and I don't even see why this person or his statements are even making news. Who cares really? At this point, do anybody cares? UK can send all its military equipment, all its budget to Ukraine. Okay. And then what? Conflict, unfortunately, will be prolonged, but eventually Russia will win anyway. But yes, these Russophobes, man, I'm surprised that, I mean, that no one in UK's elites are adequate to stop this madness. I mean, all you see, and there are two main parties, or there are three parties really in parliament, as I understand, but or even more. I'm not really good in UK's politics, internal politics, but they are Labour Party and they are conservatives, isn't it? And nowadays, in my opinion, both parties look like they are just one of the same. There are no difference between them. They are both Russopopes. They are both parties for war, for more death and destruction. So I mean, it's sad, man. It's sad to see this level of deterioration in elites of Western countries. There truly was some times in like decades ago, some 50, 40, 50, 60 years ago, 70 years ago, when many countries in this world were seeing Western elites as an example. Not all of them, of course, but there were some countries that were seeing Western elites as an example, and Western elites at least was trying to play noble. But nowadays, they are straight up warmongers and some extremists, man, xenophobes, racists, and the rest of it. Let me continue now, and TASS News Agency's report about head of Hungary's foreign ministry's visit in China. Well, Hungary truly is exception, isn't it? When it comes to modern Europe, Hungary's leadership proves time after time that they are probably one of the few adequate people in current elites in Europe. And of course, we can applaud these attempts from Hungary's leadership to play some positive role to somehow start these peaceful negotiations between Moscow and Kiev. But as I said many times before, man, no matter who and how many times will try from Hungary, from China, from Brazil, or any other country to bring sides to the peace negotiation table, as long as Washington and London are not willing to talk about peace, these attempts will fail, unfortunately. And Washington and London will only start talking about peace when Russian side will achieve some decisive victories on the battlefield. So that's a reality that we are in. And when it comes to Russian decisive victories, then I think if Zelensky's regime will conduct its so-called counteroffensive in direction of Azov Sea, once these forces, these last reserves of Ukrainian army will be destroyed, then Ukrainian army may collapse all along this front line, and in that case, Russia's side may receive opportunity to conduct its own large-scale offensive operations, and maybe, if that's the case, maybe Russia will achieve decisive victories before end of this year. And then peaceful negotiations are quite possible to begin. But if Zelensky's regime will not conduct any offensive in direction of Azov Sea, and if they will try to remain its reserves, to save its reserves, then this kind of stalemate on the front line will continue probably until the winter. And in the next winter, Russian forces will probably start offensive, which will end this conflict, which will destroy Zelensky's Nazi and terrorist regime, and then after that offensive, this conflict will probably end. Yeah, and after all conflicts are ending with negotiations. So let's see how it goes. Few more news, and by the way, I was very surprised that during the previous days, Russian media don't really report much about this huge escalation that took place in between Israel and Palestinians. And because I'm sharing with you reports from Russian media outlets, when I was preparing update, I just had no in my disposal news from Israel or Palestine, and that's why I did not comment on this topic during the previous days. But now we have at least some reports on Russian media, and according to this information, sides, Israel and the Palestine sides, did agree on ceasefire. I hope this ceasefire will stay, and there will be no more missile shellings of Israel from Palestinians, and there will be no more strikes from Israel towards Palestine. Very unfortunate situation. I mean, I don't know if there is any power in this world to bring these sides closer to each other so that they will stop fighting, for God's sake, man. It's for so many decades now, this conflict between the sides are continuing, and the generation did grow up that never knew how to live together peacefully, which is very unfortunate. And I don't know, man. I hope somehow sides will manage to calm down situation and minimize this level of confrontation. What else you gonna say, man? I did share on my Telegram page these videos of shellings and strikes, and I mean it's horrible what is happening, man. It's not good for Palestinians. It's not good for Israelis. I mean, how long they gonna fight, for God's sake, man? Let's talk some peace and live blind together peacefully. Is it possible? Let me continue, and by the way, hopefully this agreement between the sides will hold, and there will be no shellings no more. Let me continue now, and this is TASS News Agency's report about article in Financial Times, according to which G7 and the EU leaders are now working on new. It's not even sanctions. Leaders of EU and G7 countries want to create some legal base which will not allow EU member states or Russia to establish to reestablish their contracts or their working relationships when it comes to gas deliveries to Europe. So let me translate this. Because I probably did not explain well. So G7 and EU plan to ban resumption of pipeline gas supplies from Russia. Yes. So they will probably create some laws now which will not allow European states to receive Russian gas in the future. I mean, you tell me how crazy is this, man? I was saying that because of these policies of Western elites, relationships between sides are ruined for decades between Russia and Western states and majority of Western states, and that's proof that I am correct. G7 and EU leaders now want G7 countries and the EU leaders now want to, on a legal basis, create some legal basis so that relationships between European states and Russia will not improve in the future. So they want European states to be enemies of Russia forever, basically. That's what they want. And I don't know if citizens of European states are happy with it, then yes, be it. I mean, what we can do about it? Nothing. It's not us that are fighting in Europe. It's European elites that are fighting on our doorstep. They are bringing war to us. Let me continue now. This is RIA Novosti's report, according to which India will start now policies to bring back all the artifacts that United Kingdom stole from India during the colonization of this country. And we are talking about thousands and thousands of articles that was stolen by UK from India. Well, it's not gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy for India because you can see how current UK's leadership is acting. They still think that they are some kind of rulers of the world when they are just nothing, zero. No one respects them. And but still they are representing state, this kingdom, and well, they will do their best to make sure that India will receive nothing. But I will support India, and I will support any other country that was robbed by United Kingdom. And this is going to be last news for today, which is, quite funny. You may find it funny and interesting. This is TASS News Agency's report, according to which Russian border guards are canceling visas to Finnish citizens that are crossing border to full the tanks in the cars and buy some groceries in Russia. So this is real story, guys. If you listen to Western propaganda, you may think that in Russia people are, staying in queues to buy bread. But in reality, it's, look at it. Finnish citizens are crossing border all the time to fill up their tanks and buy some groceries because it's cheaper in Russia. And it's plenty of it. And it's good that Russian side is canceling visas because citizens of Finland should realize that when they are voting for crazy idiots, when they are support crazy idiots in the elites, there will be some consequences for that. And let Finnish citizens now pay for very same groceries and very same fuel twice or three times more. Just let them do so. Funny story, isn't it? So yes, this is it. This is it for now. This is it for now. I hope you will find this update interesting, and if so, please hit that like button. Leave some commentary about any topic you like, and if you can, please share links to my videos with your friends on Facebook, Twitter, Telegram, Vkontakte, or any other platform that you are active on. That will probably greatly increase my chances to reach wider audience. And if you think this channel is interesting, has some potential, and deserves to exist in this field of news and political commentary, then please consider to support with small donations through PayPal or buy me a coffee, or by subscribing to my Patreon page. You will see links under this video in the description box. That's been said. This is it. I hope you have a great weekend. I wish you a great day. Take care and see you soon.